Okay, we are now started. We're recording. Welcome everybody. It's good day. Yes, I do have a daughter, Greg. She's not old enough to date though. All right, she's a lot younger. There we go. All right. So welcome guys. This is personal finance. We haven't had it for a little while because of Labor Day and some other things that came up. So welcome back. Just remember these lessons are being recorded for learning purposes. As we're going through the course, I have some expectations here, class today. One, make sure you're following off the Nearpod lesson. If you're unable to follow along with it, just make sure you're answering through the chat and stuff like that, just so I know you're participating. The next one is use chat tools respectfully and appropriately. So make sure we're staying on topic and stuff. Respond to questions and instructions the first time. No, that's not her name, Greg, so probably not. All right. Okay, so before we go on the lesson objective, I just want to go through the course real quick. If you come right here to our course, log in. I always post the recordings right here to the announcement page. So you have these available to you handily. If we click the plan button, it's going to take us to the calendar. We have live class every Monday. And then it's Friday when I have things due. And I have them due by modules. Okay. So this week is module 7 and module 8 that we'll be doing. As we look into, go to content, this is where you're going to find module 7 is about paying for college, which we're going to talk about today. And the other one is talking about different financial institutions and the differences between them. So we have 3 quizzes, 3 videos and quizzes for module 7, 3 modules and quizzes for module 8. Okay. So we'll have there, we have 15 modules altogether. So if we go back to the calendar here, we should be finished up, in the next little bit. And the 18th would be the last day that you have to turn everything in, October 18th. Okay. So that is our course plan and how everything goes. But what our objective is today is, given quizzes in the OLS, students will accurately answer multiple choice questions about paying for college in different financial institutions with 80% accuracy across one trial. So exactly what the modules you're going to be going over does. Okay, so let's talk about paying for college and other financial institutions. So one thing you need to be aware of is financial aid. Okay, there's multiple different types of financial aid, and they all kind of work differently. So you need to be smart on this, because a lot of people have made some very bad decisions in their younger years and came up with, got a degree in art, which I'm not saying that's bad to get a degree in art. That's fine. I'm more than happy for anybody that gets a degree in art. But they get a degree in art, but they're $200,000 in student loans. Okay. You're not going to be able to pay that back, right? With that kind of income, it has to be, if you're a doctor, right? If you become a doctor and you take out $200,000 or $300,000 in loans, that's a different story, right? But you got to be good about what you're kind of doing to get your education. Okay. It's not just a time to take out money and play. So let's watch this little video first about this process.
Hi, my name's Ben, and today we are identifying sources of funding to assist in post-high school education opportunities and the cost of repayment. For many applicants and their families, the most daunting aspect of the journey to college is the price tag. If you're wondering, How am I going to pay for college? You have options. In fact, there is more help available to you than you might realize. These resources are eager to work in partnership with you and your family to ensure that a college education is affordable. The federal government. The U.S. Department of Education awards about $150 billion a year to more than 15 million students through federal grants, to federal student loans, and to employment through the Federal Work-Study Program. Your state government. Similar to the federal government, your home state offers various types of financial aid, and guess what? You might be eligible for this type of aid even if you're not eligible for federal aid. College and universities. Many colleges and universities provide financial aid and scholarships from their own funds, sometimes for a particular field of study. To learn if a school offers this type of financial support, visit the financial aid section of their individual website or contact the school's financial aid office. Now that you know who is available to help you pay for college, it's important to understand what you can do to make college more affordable. Start saving. It's never too early to set funds aside to pay for college, and there are specific government-sponsored saving plans to help you do just that. Apply for financial aid. Financial aid comes in many different forms from a variety of different sources. Start by visiting the Office of Federal Student Aid to learn about the different types of financial aid available to you, like grants, loans, and work study. Then, when you're ready to apply for financial aid, you'll need to complete the free application for federal student aid, or better known as Fafsa. Explore scholarship opportunities. Scholarships are gift money that can help you pay for college. Most scholarships are awarded by individual colleges in recognition of academic performance, athletic ability, a commitment to community service, or other unique talents. You can learn about these opportunities by visiting colleges' admission and financial aid offices or websites. You can also find scholarship opportunities through local, regional, and national nonprofit organizations.
All right, so that kind of gave you a little bit of an overview of some of the ways you can pay for college. As I said, being very wise on this would be the best thing to do. I know some people took maybe out some student loans to maybe go on like a spring break vacation. Not the smartest thing to do either, just so you're aware. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys a question. If you're not on the Nearpod, you can do it in the chat. What college do you want to go to, and do you know how you will pay for college? Okay, so let's see what your dreams and ambitions are. And if you're not looking to go to a traditional college, right, you may want to look at going to like a trade school or something like that, some other learning, but that all costs money. So how are you going to pay for it? So somebody said they want to go to NYU, New York University. Know how you're going to pay for it? Or UCLA. Okay. All right. They're kind of expensive. Figure out. Got to think about what to do. Okay. Lutheran College, Evans. All right. I'm not sure I want to go. Okay. Wyotech. Okay. I didn't know they had one in Provo now. That's pretty cool. I like the model they have down there, kind of things. MIT, I would try to get a full ride if possible. If not, so I go to Utah State. Well, might as well plan for Weber State because they beat them this last weekend in football pretty badly. No, just kidding. Just throwing that out there. Okay, probably Weber State or Utah State. Very good. Okay, I'm not sure if I'd be contending, but if I would, most likely be community college or trade school. Very good. It's good to start out that way too, right? Take some of these courses at the smaller community college and build your way up, okay? Not sure what college yet because I'm too ambitious, okay? But probably I'll try to get scholarships and work, pay for it, okay? That's a very good way. That's some good ways that people do it. They pay for it themselves. They get scholarships. There's a ton of scholarships out there for anything you want to do. Everybody thinks of like, oh, scholarships have to be like athletics or academics. There's a lot of different other things out there you can get scholarships for. Somebody said BYU. I'm going to go to BYU. Okay. I'm not planning to go to college. Okay. Very good. All right. I'm saving and thinking of girl golf scholarship. Okay. At least for scholarships. Okay. Very good. Yeah. There's just so many different things out there. Private scholarships. There's multiple. I know when I was going to college, I was almost getting paid to go to college. So hear this. So I had a grant, which we'll talk about what those are. I got a grant from the federal government that you didn't have to pay back. I got that. I had some grants from the state government, didn't have to pay back. I also had, or at very minimal cost, right? I had to pay for books and stuff like that. I also had a private scholarship I was getting, and it just helped me go to school. It was great. And some of the money, like the scholarship money, just came directly to me. So it was like I was almost getting paid to go to school. So that was nice. But if you know how to work the system, then you're good to go. Okay. So here are some things that people use to pay for college. 30% use scholarships and grants. 5% relatives and friends pay for it. 16% student borrowing, so student loans, which I said be very, very careful of that. You wish you could pay to go to school. Yeah. You just got to work. You got to figure out the right connections. Parent borrowing, student income and savings. And then this is miscellaneous other. They didn't do it, but there's a lot. How are we supposed to get scholarships in homeschool? Okay. So one, you want to get, I'll show you in a second. You apply online. There's online applications. Okay. And as long as you get a certified high school diploma by, UTBA or some other place, you could definitely qualify. Or if you don't get a high school diploma, some universities accept a GED acceptance. So you'd have to go take the GED test and pass that. So, all right. So we talked about all these things. Grants, scholarship, loans, federal work study, interns, fellowships. Work study, that's a kind of a good one. So if you get on track to work with the federal government, they'll go and you got to pass your classes, but then they'll pay for them, right? I do have there's like an employment benefit that I've received at some point in time too, to pay for my college classes. I've gone to college for a long time. If you're in the military, there's a veterans benefit. So being in the military is a good way to get your college paid for. So if that's a route you're thinking about taking. So let's talk about those online applications that somebody mentioned just in the chat here just a second ago, like Greg did. What it is, it's called FAFSA. FAFSA stands for Free Student Application, or there's federal in there. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But anyways, what you need to know is that if you do it, you can apply every year. And so when you're a senior, so do we have any seniors in this class right now? Any seniors? Yes, okay. A couple more. All right. So can file October 1st of their senior year. So for those that are doing it, I would apply and see how much you can get. Okay. So what you do is October 1st is coming up. You have to have, if you're still living in your parents' home under your parents' roof, your parents are going to have to help you fill this out with a parent and student, what's called a FAFSA ID. The earlier you do it, the better, because they're just committing money to different people, right? You heard that there was so many, like $150 billion that were spent and stuff. What if you're not, does not living parents affect anything? So if you're not living with in your household, I think it depends on your household income, some of the things like that. So depending on maybe who your guardian is, would kind of be how that works. Okay. But what you do is you go to this website, www.fafsa.gov. Now this is what it stands for: Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And what I did, so when I did it, I went on there, and I was newly married when I started going to college. So I didn't have any money whatsoever. And so I was able to get a grant. They offered me a grant, and they offered me a student loan amount. So the grants you don't have to pay back. So I accepted that right away. So that paid for quite a bit of my college. I did take out a little bit of student loans. It was not very much, a couple $1,000 to help us kind of get by, because we were super poor when we were my wife and I were first married. and so that kind of helped us get through there. And then I went and applied for other scholarships and stuff and got those. And I only had to take out not very much in student loans, and we paid it back super quick. So I would recommend that, to try to not do student loans if you can. But they'll give you that for that. They have different types of loans too. One's called like a Stanford loan. A Stanford loan, basically, they pay for the interest, the federal government does, until you start paying it back. But you pay the interest. But there's another one that's not unsubsidized, and the interest builds as soon as you take out the loan. So you just got to be a little careful on that stuff. This is what the website looks like. You'd come here and say start a new FAFSA application, and then just start working through the process and go through there. But you'd be surprised like what you can kind of get. Here's also some other things to use. As you probably maybe have seen on the news, that student loans are kind of a big issue, right? That people have taken out so many big ones, as kind of mentioned before. If you get an art degree and have $200,000 in student loans, you're probably never going to pay it back. So there has been some student loan forgiveness that's been happening recently. So you just got to be careful and be frugal. And that's why you're taking this class, right? Or it's a requirement. Okay, so that gets us on how to pay for student loan for education. Any questions on how to pay for student loans, or what it's like, or anything like that? Okay. All right, we'll move on to the next module, which talks about financial institutions and comparison. And we're going to watch a little video to explain it at first.
Hi, I'm Ezra Hainsworth. Today we'll compare the roles of financial institutions and their services. Institutions such as banks, credit unions, insurance companies, loan agencies, and investment or brokerage firms. A financial institution exists to provide a wide variety of financial services. These include widely used services like deposits and withdrawals, lending and collecting, and investment products, as well as highly specialized services like futures trading and financial modeling. While a majority of financial institutions provide a host of services and accounts for the general public, others focus on specialized services that only have a small number of prospective customers. To know which financial institution is most appropriate in serving a specific need, it is important to understand the differences between the types of institutions and the purposes they serve. The major categories of financial institutions include central banks, retail and commercial banks, internet banks, credit unions, savings and loans associations, investment banks, brokerage firms, insurance companies, and mortgage companies. Central banks. A central bank is the financial institution responsible for the oversight and management of all other banks. In the United States, the central bank is the Federal Reserve Bank, also known as the Fed, which is responsible for the conducting monetary policy, supervision, and regulation of financial institutions. Individual customers do not have direct contact with central bank. Instead, large financial institutions work directly with the Fed to provide products and services to the general public. Retail and commercial banks. Traditionally, retail banks offered products to individual consumers while commercial banks worked directly with businesses. Currently, the majority of large banks offer deposit accounts and lending and limited financial advice to both demographics. Products offered at retail and commercial banks include checkings and savings accounts, certificates of deposit or CDs, personal loans, mortgage loans, credit cards, and business banking accounts. Internet banks. One of the newest entries into the financial institution market is the internet bank, which works in a similar fashion to retail banks. Internet banks offer the same products and services as conventional banks, but they do so through online platforms instead of brick and mortar locations. Credit unions. Credit unions serve a specific demographic per their field of membership, such as teachers or members of the military. While products offered resemble retail bank offerings, credit unions are owned by their members and operate for their benefit. Savings and loan associations. Financial institutions that are mutually held and provide no more than 20% of total lending to businesses fall under the category of savings and loan associations. Individual consumers use savings and loan associations for deposit accounts, personal loans, and mortgage lending. Investment banks and companies. Investment banks do not take deposits. Instead, they help individuals, businesses, and government raise capital through the issuing of securities. Investment companies, more commonly known as mutual fund companies, pool funds from individuals and institutions to provide them access to the broader securities market. Brokerage firms. A brokerage firm assists individuals and institutions in buying and selling securities among available investors. Customers of brokerage firms can trade in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and exchange traded funds or ETFs, among others. Insurance companies. Financial institutions that help individuals transfer risk of loss are known as insurance companies. Individuals and businesses use insurance companies to protect against financial loss due to death, disability, accidents, property damage, and other misfortunes. Mortgage companies. Financial institutions that originate or fund mortgage loans are mortgage companies. While most mortgage companies serve the individual consumer market, some specialize in lending options for commercial real estate only.
Alrighty, so that gave you some ideas of different financial institutions. There's a lot out there. There continues to be more and more. But if we were to come around here, we're just going to do just the basic ones. Can anybody, you can write on here or you can type on here. That's how it works. You can do a little text bar or something. But can somebody write on here what is, or people around here, what are the difference between a bank and a credit union? So tell me the difference between a bank and credit union. You can either write with a marker. Kind of seem the same. But we'll just talk about that real quick. Difference between a bank versus a credit union. Yeah, nobody's putting anything up here. All right. Well, I'll briefly describe real quick the difference between a bank and a credit union, unless they're over on this side. Oh, some people have started a little bit. Oh, look, somebody submitted something. that one's kind of cut off a little bit, but it says a credit union is a more local strand where the individual may perhaps be more engaged, and they also nonprofit. Kind of. Credit unions are still for profit, but they're owned by the members. That's what they call them. Become a member of Golden West or America First. They are more localized, so they don't have, they're just in like usually certain regions. So they're not like worldwide. Unlike banks like Wells Fargo, which is everywhere. Banks do have shareholders. So they basically, you could buy them, like buy shares of a bank to go there. And so they're more beholden to their shareholders rather than members. Usually banks have more fees, credit unions have less fees. And that's a little bit of what the difference is there. So hold on, I got some messages here. Okay, so here's just some variety of different banks and credit unions. So, you know, SunFirst, you heard of that, State Bank of Southern Utah, Zions Bank, Heritage Bank, US Bank, First Security. Credit unions are more, oh, Zions Bank again. Credit unions, I think of like America First, Mountain West, Golden West, all of those kind of things. But it's good to get a bank account. I met with some people that were, man, in their late 50s and never opened a bank account. So it's good. You've only heard of 2 of those banks. I've heard of all of them actually, but I would look at opening up a bank account early, or not necessarily a bank or credit union, whichever one you prefer, and just kind of see what are the pros and cons of opening a bank account. Okay. So the pros of opening a bank account is, one, you get to start, you get interest that's built. It's not very much. So for example, you know, let's say I had $5,000 in my account, I'd probably only get like 5 cents a month or something like that they would pay me for keeping my money in their account, right? So that's an option of a pro. Another pro is it is insured. So like, for example, people are worried like somebody's going to go to my going to steal my money out of my bank account, you know, like hack it. It's insured, federally insured. So what happens if that is stolen? It's insured by the federal government and you'll get that money back, right? Another thing is, if you don't have it, what are you dealing with? You're dealing with cash, and cash is not always accepted in places. It's better to have a place where you're going to be keeping your money overall. The cons of a bank is there are some fees, mostly in banks like Wells Fargo. I know they have fees for having a bank account, that kind of stuff. But I don't see a ton of cons, but there may be some here and there. So, all right. Okay, so as you're opening up one, think of a checking or savings account. There is some risk. I guess a con too would be risk, because if you can use like a debit card or something like that and you go over, you're going to get overdraft fees. There's some different ATM fees if you're not smart with your money. So if you're smart and you plan ahead, then you're good. But I would definitely consider opening a bank account because everything is kind of used and correlates to that. So what you need to do for this week, remember modules 7 and 8. And so get those done. And I'll stick around if you guys have any questions.